Welcome to Cooking with Glenn and Katie.
Today, I'll be making French baguettes, and the recipe makes 4 15-inch baguettes.
They are absolutely delicious, and they use the same bread dough recipe that Dad has shared with you over the past several videos, showing many different ways of how to use the bread dough. But before we dive in, we want to share with you that there actually is a French bread law in France. The French bread law states that traditional baguettes have to be made on the premises they're sold and can only be made with 4 ingredients: wheat flour, water, salt, and yeast. They can't be frozen at any stage or contain additives or preservatives, which also means they go stale within 24 hours. Additionally, in France, a lot of people tend to buy baguettes in pairs or 2 at a time because they realize by the time they get home, they're probably going to have already eaten an entire bread loaf, so they've got to have one that they can bring back to their families. But are you ready to get started with today's recipe?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. To start, I'm going to add 1 1/3 cups of warm water. I put this in the microwave for 1 minute, but it needs to be between 90 and 115 degrees. Next, I'm going to add 5 teaspoons of sugar. And to that, I'm adding 1 tablespoon of yeast. This is instant yeast. Stir it in, and I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. It's been 10 minutes. Look at all the carbon dioxide bubbles. I will add some oil, 1 tablespoon of oil. And next, I'll be adding 3 1/2 cups of bread flour. And finally, I'm going to sprinkle on top 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. And now I'm going to mix this together. I'll start this on low until things have started to mix in together. And in about 30 seconds to a minute, I'll turn it on the next higher level speed, and I will set it for 8 minutes. The dough is perfect this time. It's not sticky. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. If it sticks on the side of the bowl or the bottom of the bowl, you just add 1 teaspoon of flour and let it knead it a little bit more, and then you may need to add a little bit more until it's like this. I'm going to start by making a dough ball. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to kind of bring it in on itself just to make a quick dough ball so I can split it up into 4 pieces. So here we go. I'm going to make 4 baguettes, so I need to cut this large piece of dough into 4 pieces. Take this one and I'll cut it in half. So I have triangles here. I'll point the triangles towards me. There's a reason for that. I'll cut this one And now I'm going to roll it up into a oblong cylinder shape. So to do that, I start with a pointed end and I start rolling it towards me like this. Just keep on rolling and pushing down with my thumbs as I roll it in. And eventually it's going to be a cylinder like this. And this is 6 inches. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for making all 4 of these like this, so that it can go into the oven for the first rise. Now they're ready to go into the oven. I'm going to turn the oven on to 350 for about 1 minute to warm the oven up, and then I'll turn the oven light on so it kind of keeps the dough at a constant temperature. So let me do that. I'm just going to turn on bake 350, and I'm going to turn the oven light on. And during the 1 minute, I'm going to put this dampened towel into the microwave for 30 seconds to warm it up. I just took the towel out of the microwave and it's warm. Let me turn the oven off, and it's slightly warm. And then I'm going to put this towel on the dough, and I'll put it in the oven for 20 minutes for the first rise. I just took the dough out of the oven. Let's look at it. The dough has risen, and now it's time to shape them into the baguette shapes. For me, I found that it's best to use a perforated baguette pan, and it's 15 inches long and 13 inches wide. So the baguettes are going to be 15 inches. I lightly oil it, so I'm just going to take this leftover butter on the butter that I set out earlier today to use. I'm just going to lightly oil it. You don't want much in here, and it should not stick to the pan anyway, but I always like to put a little bit of oil on it. So that's ready. Now I'll take each one of these pieces of dough, and I'm going to scrape it up off of here, and I'm going to lay it on a floured surface. I'm going to flour it just a little bit. Doesn't need much. I'm going to flatten the piece of dough. Then I'm going to take the top of this and bring it halfway into the middle. I'm going to use my fingers to press it in. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to bring this to the middle and press it in too, so they're joined in the middle there. Next, I'll be bending this over, and with the palm of my hand, I'm going to push it in. And the last step is I put it all the way to the end, and I do it. That puts a seam that's straight across. And now I'm going to roll it until it's about 15 inches. And I want that to be the same all the way across. I'm sensitive to that. And I'm rolling it off with my hands to the ends here. Okay, now this is ready to put on the baguette pan. It's 15 inches. The dough is ready to rise for the second time. For the second rise, I'm going to use the same process I did for the first rise. And I'll let it rise for 20 minutes again. The dough has risen for the second rise, but before I take it out, I'm going to turn the oven to 500 degrees. Now I'll take the bread out. Let's look at it. beautiful. They've risen great. They'll be sitting for about 15 minutes until the oven gets to 500 degrees, but there are a few things I need to be doing. It takes about 10 minutes for the oven to reach 500 degrees Fahrenheit. So in the meantime, I'm going to get some water boiling, because I'm going to put a pan of water underneath where I put the baguettes to bake, because it's very crucial when you make baguettes that you have a very moist environment for the first 5 minutes. And so I'll be spraying the sides with spray water and getting it as moist as I can for the first 5 minutes. The hot pot has the water boiling now, and I'm going to place 2 cups of water. I'm just kind of fill the bottom of this. You don't have to have much water. And so now I'm going to put this in the oven. And from this point on, when I open the oven, I'm going to have to stand back, because there'll be a lot of steam coming out of the oven. So I'm going to put this in the center of this bottom rack. The baguettes are going to be on the center lower rack. It's time to score the dough. So use whatever you have at your house. If you've got a serrated knife, very sharp knife, some scalpels. I use a lame. I bought this for $6. It had 10 blades with it. But then I went to Panera, and they gave me a little stirrer with my coffee, and my mind started clicking. I said, I bet I could make something out of it to make a homemade lame, and that's what I did. So I came home, and this is one from Panera, and I had to use big holes here to put them in. But then I had some other stirrers around the house, and this is a little bit smaller, so I was able to thread it through this. Now this is a single edge razor blade, and so I went online to see how much they cost, because I like a real sharp blade. I found a package on Amazon for like $6. If you use the 100 razor blades and you use the stirrer, it will last you a long time and be very inexpensive. The oven has preheated, so now I'm going to score the bread. A good way of doing it is to go more of a horizontal direction here. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways I can do it. This one I'm just going to cut right here, and I'm going to kind of dig in and cut about 1/3 of it. Now I'm going to start in the middle here, and I'm going to cut about 1/3. Then I'm going to come over on this side and cut the rest of it. So you've got some nice deep cuts, and you want the cuts to be at least 1/4 of an inch to 1 inch deep. The next one I'll be doing is I'm just going to go straight down the center of this one. So I go in here, I do it as a purpose. I don't stop until I get to the very end. So I've scored this. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Another way I do it is to do some cuts. I start in the middle here. I cut 1, I cut 2, I cut 3 here, and I cut 2 on this side. So those are the 3 ways I like to score the bread. So this one I'm just going to go here like this, right here, and right here. There you go. It's all ready to go in the oven. The oven has preheated to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's got steam in it, so I'm going to open it up, let the steam come out, and so I won't get it all over my face, and I'm going to put the baguettes in, and I'll make the environment moist again. So I'm going to open it up, stand back, the water's boiling, you can see the steam coming out, and then I'm going to pull this out. I'll put the baguettes in here, the center of the rack. It's going to be right on top of that water. And then to add more steam, I'm going to spray each side 10 times. I will let the bread cook for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to take all the water out. I'll spray the sides again, and I'll let it cook for another 5 minutes before I turn the trays around and cook it for the final 10 minutes. So that's 20 minutes total cooking time. It's been 5 minutes, so I'm going to take the water out of the oven. I'm standing back because a lot of moisture is going to come out. Pull this. We no longer need the water because it's done its job. The water allows for the bread to open up. And so the bread has been able to open up with the moisture that's been in there. So it's time to cook again. But before I close it, I'm going to put a little bit more moisture for the last time. It's been another 5 minutes, or a total of 10 minutes cooking time. I'm opening the oven up, and this is what the baguettes look like so far. They're beautiful, but they've got 10 more minutes to cook. Turn these around, and we'll put these back in for another 10 minutes. There are several ways of making French baguettes, but I'm showing you one. I love this pan. This is a perforated baguette pan. I got 2 of them, and they cost close to $20, around $20. So they're $10 to $15 a piece. They work beautifully, and that's how I do it. There are a lot of different ways, but I'm only sharing with you this one way. It's been 20 minutes, so the baguettes are ready. Let's look at them. Oh, they're beautiful. They turned out perfect. You can see the scoring, the different colors. I couldn't be more pleased. It's been 10 minutes since I've taken the baguettes out of the oven. Let's see what they look like. They're beautiful, and I'm gonna pick this one, and I'm gonna cut it. I like to cut it at an angle. Listen to that. That's what you want. You want a crispy sound. Just listen to it. Let's look at the interior. So you want a very crispy outside, very soft on the inside. I can't wait to taste it.
Now it's time for the French bread taste test. I'm so excited about this. Look at these beautiful loaves right here. We've already cut one of the 4, but look at these other 3, how perfect they are. And right here, Dad graciously sliced them all for us so we could taste test them. And then Dad also prepared us some olive oils and butters. We have olive oil with Italian seasoning or spices. We have olive oil with balsamic vinegar, jalapeno butter, which we love, and then some delicious plain butter as well. So now it's time for me to try one of these perfect French bread pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and just grab one. The crust, I can already feel how crunchy it is, just holding it, how soft the inside is. Look at that. Is that not an absolutely gorgeous piece of bread? I'm gonna just be a traditionalist and put some butter right on here and see if it makes a crunch when I bite into it. Hopefully y'all heard that. That is some excellent French bread. It was so easy to make, just 2 rises, and it's perfect. Definitely a winner and something I'm gonna be cooking at my own home as well. Now I'm gonna keep eating this. Definitely give it a try. Thank you so much for watching today. For the detailed step-by-step instructions on how we made today's recipe, be sure to check out the description box below. And if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give a thumbs up, comment below, and if you haven't subscribed, please be sure to do so, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you're updated on all of our new videos. And we will see you with our next video.
See ya.